whole lot of people have been reacting to the Natasha Akpabio drama. As at yesterday, Natasha had to appear in the Senate with the husband, even though the husband didn't enter into the chamber. There was a kind of romantic display, just give the wife a peck and allow the wife to step into the chamber. And of course, she submitted her petition to the Senate president, who was the one accused of sexual harassment. And the case is already in court. And of course, in the Senate's book, they have their own book, they have their own law, they have their own regulations that guide the activities in the Senate, and it's been stated that she is not supposed to sign the petition herself, which she signed. So the Ethic and Privilege Committee couldn't go through that because they said the property was not done, and sometimes she would be those last questions. Don't she know that she was not supposed to sign a petition, all right, by herself and all of that? Well, they couldn't attend to it. And secondly, it is also in the book that if the case is in court, the Senate does not have the right to deliberate on it because the case is already in court. No need sitting over it or setting up a committee to look into the situation. All of this culminated into the drama that happened at the Senate. But then, moving away from there, I think we have the good news from the northern part of Nigeria, and even coming down to the north central, to the south to the southeast, and of course everywhere. The reduction in price of food items. There was a report, if you're a good follower of Global Television, there was a report from Kano State yesterday of how the price of commodities has reduced and people are rushing to the market to buy. During Ramadan, a lot of people do so much buying. A lot of people buying and selling happens. I could remember back in the days where we're still in that part of the country. This period is a time that a lot of people do businesses. People that sell what we call ice block. In Hausa they call it kankara. People that sell kankara make their own money. People that sell foodstuffs, everything. Whatever business you're doing in the north during Ramadan, it's because when they break in the evening, they buy a whole lot. So it's also good news that the price of food, especially beans, is reducing drastically. And someone said, hey, come on, you don't have to relax. If you have enough money, get enough beans as possible and store it because the price may go up again. And I was thinking, if this can happen, whatever it is that made the price of these food items to reduce, can the same thing be sustained so that we can have enough food in circulation? I heard from someone yesterday that at least some form of rice is now coming into Nigeria, which is not, I've not actually taken time to do that research yet. Alright, all of that put together, and our farmers being able to go to the farm, I think it's going to go a long way, helping us, alright, in getting food at a very affordable price. That's what Nigerians actually are looking forward to at this very particular point in time. And then moving away from there, let's talk about I'm looking for the right words to use as far as what is happening in the petroleum industry is concerned between Dangote and marketers, and of course importers and exporters. Everyone puts together. The actors in the game some of them are not really happy. You know why? Because that reduction in price was deliberate because something happened, and some persons are so comfortable with it, but the Nigerians are happy because what Nigerians really want is that this competition should be on so that the price, all Nigerians are saying is that the price of the commodity should reduce, and that's it. If the product is being sold at 500 naira, it's even going to be good. It's 8 something right now, but some filling stations are selling as high as 9 something. But then there is a reduction. It was getting to 1,000 plus, just the way we're looking at the exchange rate, the floating of the naira that took us to as high as $1 to 2,000 naira in this country before it started coming down. I think we had a little stability, okay, as far as the exchange rate is concerned right now. Stability 456, 456, I'm about, or else it was getting very high as 2,000 naira in this country, 8 naira to 2,000 naira, and money didn't have value anymore, and a lot of people took advantage of that and they made a lot of money, especially people who do remote jobs. I'm not talking about the big name. Do you know that, let me say this, it was being said, alright, it was being said by some Nigerians that there are some persons who didn't even transact in naira during that period. If they want to give you money, they give you dollars. If they are doing any transaction, they do it in dollars, because that is one transaction that could bring them a whole lot if they change to a naira. But then I think we should also be proud of our own naira too, and we are the ones that will actually make it very, very stable and valuable and treasurable. How do we do that? So make sure the dollar and naira is being equal. It may not happen, but then if the difference is not much, it's going to go a long way, helping a lot of Nigerians. Then I think I need to talk about this, because this has to do with security, the security situation. How many of you saw the video of the immigration officer that was caught, alright, was allegedly arrested for selling arms to bandits, to maybe kidnappers, I don't know where they are, criminals. Let me call them criminals. But the people terrorizing our way, are the security operatives. I don't know. I think investigation is still on. We need to know why that happened. Alright? We need to know why that happened. Is it that the person is not well paid as an officer? I know everyone have their own complaint. What's happening right now, no matter what you're earning, we must be able to cater for you and your family. But then going as far as selling arms or giving arms to terrorists, criminals, is not the right way to go. No matter the situation, that's not the right way to go. And of course, I think we need to say something about this a little bit before we get into the national dailies, because I saw a video making round on social media where someone was lamenting at the fact that something is going on that is very wrong, and that's the issue of pensioners not being paid pension after retirement, after serving the nation, after putting in the whole of their energy. Someone served for 35 years and the person does not have power anymore. You know, this is how it happens in some countries. We have the working class, we have the middle age, and we have the aged, alright, the elderly ones in the society that they call elder statesmen, people that have really served the country, that need to be treated like one. A lot of them have passed on because they keep pushing this pension so that it will be paid, and some of them pass on in the process and their children continue. Then you get to a point and you feel, well, this is not achievable and people leave it. The question is this: is it that the pension is not there? Is it that someone else is sitting on it? Is it that one snake somewhere has swallowed this money? So all of this put together is discouraging for people who are in service. And the reason why we're talking about this is because everyone come out to complain about the fact that corruption has eaten deeply into the fabric of the society, the fabric of Nigeria as a nation. Why? We need to trace one or two things before we blame people for their action. For every action there is a motive, and this motive brings the reaction. So we need to know there are certain things, loopholes that need to be blocked. Some things need to be stopped to at least help us curb this corruption, because some people may feel, well, I'm in public office now, it's time for me to cut away with everything, and people will not be concentrated to work. What do you think will happen to people who are already retired, people who are already working, people who are still working, who are still in active service, looking at what is happening to their colleagues, their friends, their relatives right now who are pensioners and are not getting this pension? Do you think they will give their all to the service of the nation? That's the question. If we must get things right, then there are certain things we must take into cognizance as a nation. I'm actually speaking to people in authority, people who have the wherewithal to do all of this to make sure things go right. I know nation building, national development is their assignment. It is the duty of every Nigerian who is patriotic. All right, so these are certain things we need to put in place, and we want to say with the same of the retired officer who passed on, where a lot of allegations flying on social media and everywhere, and the police came out to do some clarification so that people will not say this man was kidnapped and killed or something. It was actually a drama that happened in the hotel between himself and the mistress, and at the end of the day, life was lost. He passed on. Some quarters, some people said, well, he even called someone, one of the hotel attendants, to see the lady off. The lady left, and the next thing is he was met on the chair, and then he was already far gone and couldn't be resuscitated. The report came from the police just to clear the air. We are retreating so that people will not cause unnecessary, fear, because by the time you hear, somebody has been kidnapped, somebody has been abducted somewhere, you will be scared. There are some places, there are some locations that people don't go, no matter what you give them in FCT, in parts of Nigeria. If you tell someone to travel from this village to the north now by road, the person will tell you no matter the millions. That's there for me, my life is worth more than that money. I'm going to go. Why? Because so much is happening there. So when we hear of some misleading information, you would want to put things straight. So that's exactly what happened to the retired Controller General of Immigration that passed in that hotel. He wasn't kidnapped and murdered. Alright, and killed rather. Okay, let's just go to a quick break and return so that we can look at the pages of the newspaper. What are the papers saying this morning? Remember, you deserve to know what is going on, and we will bring you all of that details. So what do you have to do? Don't touch the remote, alright? Just keep watching. We'll return and bring you the major headlines after this break. Stay with us.
Do you know that global television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch global television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to global television.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews, latest news with experts on key global issues,
and at the same time keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
is Global Morning.
Welcome back from that break. Well, I was excited. Let me just say this. Something was happening behind closed doors, off camera anyway. Something happened, and I was telling the person, I said, come, it's like you took something very sweet in your sleep before you woke up this morning, because the reaction today is something else. And my cameraman was just laughing. Everyone, the guy at the MCR was laughing. But then, I think it's very important to wake up every day so excited, especially when you have the opportunity to listen to what the papers are saying. I'm bringing it to you free of charge. So let's get to what the papers are saying this morning. That's going to increase the excitement. It's not all the time you hear bad news that will make your mind skip. Hey, come on, kidnappers have kidnapped 10 people. It's not all the time, but now we have some very interesting stories for you coming from the national dailies, and we'll get started with the Nigerian News Direct this morning. What's the paper saying from the Nigerian News Direct? From above, the nameplate Sanwo-Olu approves first bank's 40-story eco-friendly headquarters in Eco Atlantic. That ceremony was on yesterday. Some road stations had it live. Alright. And this one says container movements by rail to Kaduna Kano will begin soon. That is NRC. Container movement, alright, by rail to Kano, Kaduna will begin very soon. I think I like that. Rail, instead of having these tankers causing problem everywhere, we have containers being moved. Right, it could be fuel, it could be fuel tank, it could be container from the shores, from the seaports, from Lagos, Port Harcourt. That's where we have seaports in Nigeria. Then we move it right to the north. It's going to make the price of commodities cheaper, because one of the problems we have is having these big lorries move these containers, and they charge so much. A panic as two-story building collapse in Lagos. Collapse again, building collapse. There was a time I did a report about building collapse. If you could remember, there was this period that buildings were just collapsing. You hear about building collapse in Abuja, you hear in Lagos, and you hear in the East. And it was rampant at a very particular time. I got to do a report about it, right? And it was being shown that this is as a result of carelessness from the engineers. Then another carelessness again from people who are occupants of this building, because you see some buildings very dilapidated, you see the walls outside, but the people are still living inside. These are enough signs, red pointers, that should make you leave that environment, vacate that place. But then some will tell you, where do I go to? Some persons don't have where to go to, especially in places like Lagos, But then I think it's so good that the authorities are rising to the occasion. But then if you want to know the details of how that actually happened, you can pick a copy of the Nigerian News Direct. Kaduna Court orders forfeiture of 1.37 billion naira allegedly diverted during El-Rufai's tenure. Forfeiture. The question is, what's the money going to be used for? Right? What's the money going to be used for? Very important. I know a lot of people are asking that question now, because remember the Abacha loot. When the money came in, though it was diversified, but then some persons were asking questions. Swiss, all this money coming from Swiss, what's it been used for? I think one very important thing is orientation. The National Orientation Agency have a lot to do. Orientate the people, let the people know. Then, of course, accountability is very important. All this money is being forfeited. What are they going to be used for? Will the people of Kaduna feel the impact of this money? That's what it is. Will they feel the impact? Will they see something and say, oh, this social amenity is the money forfeited, all right, by this governor, this person, ex-governor, this state, and all of that. I think it's going to go a long way. Now, let's look at the big story. A federal government approves of 10.3 billion naira for diabetes kits, HIV drugs after USAID suspension. Federal government approves 10.3 billion naira for diabetes kits, HIV drugs after USAID suspension. I told you I just saw that story this morning, and the first one says approves 679 billion naira for 13 road contracts. Then consider raising procurement limit to prioritize policy reforms. All of this you can find on page 2 of the Nigerian News Direct, and we have some picture stories right there, and of course this one says okay, I think we've taken this. Airtel partners MasterCard to unveil global pay card, and that's on page 6. Alright, that's by the way, well, I think what Nigerians are looking forward to right now is good service. Give us the kind of service that we will be glad we have it. Alright, especially this era. If you call the name of any bank now, what comes to mind is what they are charging. But we should also know that these charges are coming not just because they should come, but because the roaming cost is something else. Okay, so these are some other things we should also put into consideration. Now to the Daily Times newspaper, this beautiful 60th day of March 2025. Sexual harassment allegation, that's the kicker. Court stops Senate probe as police disperse pro-Natasha protesters. Page 7. Some persons are already calling for the impeachment or maybe the removal of Akpabio as the Senate President. And of course some persons stormed the National Assembly yesterday, pro-Natasha protesters. I saw the video and I was like, hey, come on, where is this crowd coming from? A lot of them, but they were dispersed by the police, and of course the case was in the Senate yesterday. Like I said, that motion couldn't be looked at. That petition wasn't considered because of some inconsistencies, for the fact that it was signed by Natasha itself, which is against the rule of the Senate, and more so that the case is in court. The Senate does not have the pedigree to deliberate or maybe pass judgment on a case that is already in court. All of this is enshrined in their own constitution, in their own rules, right, in their orders. So that couldn't hold water. Now to the big story on the Daily Times newspaper this morning. We are building viable, globally competitive economy. Alright, we are building viable, globally competitive economy. Tinubu is the one saying that. We are building viable, globally competitive economy. Tinubu is the one saying that. I know this administration would always give us hope. But then I think what we hear all the time, have a way of penetrating into your heart, and of course when it gets into your heart, you will now get to know that well, this is it. You stand positive, and that's the most important aspect of it, that you are standing positive, and based on what you're hearing every day when they tell you there is light at the end of the tunnel, there's going to be light, the economy is in the right direction, just bear whatever it is you're going through right now. You keep hearing it every day, and a lot of Nigerians are being encouraged. But then, where are we heading to? When are we going to get stabilized? What's happening to the economy? What about the budget? Is it going to fly? Is money going to enter into the pockets of some individuals? Just few hand-picked or pickpocketed individuals, or I don't know. But then I think pocket of individuals, I beg your pardon. But then I think what we should do is let's just keep hope alive and see. We are building a viable, globally competitive economy. Let's just wait a little bit and see how it's really going to go. More headlines from the National Daily this morning. Federal government approves a 10.3 billion naira for health sector, expands local manufacturing support. A federal government approves 10.3 trillion naira billion naira for health sector, expands local manufacturing support. Details read on page 5. Obasanjo at 85, that's the kicker. Tinubu Atiku extol his virtues, says he is an enigma. Details on page page 17. A federal government to tackle illegal private airplane operators. That's coming from the Minister of Aviation, Keyamo. Details you can find on page 11. We have some illegal private jet owners who are operating private airlines, and of course they are not paying anything. As at yesterday, it was being said that a lot has been lost as a result of that. Maybe because they were not paying, Nigeria has lost so much. But then, those paying, we need to see what's being done with the monies. That's what Nigerians will always tell you. We need to see, we need to feel, we need to enjoy it too. We are all Nigerians. Okay, federal government move to recover government abandoned properties globally. Government abandons properties globally. Alright, that's a good move. Federal government move to recover government abandoned properties globally. And details read on page 13 of the Daily Times newspaper this morning. And as a matter of fact, that's going to be a very good news if these things have been recovered, because if you check it out and know how much of Nigerian properties that are outside, some persons had properties that they don't even know where it is right now. Some persons have just too much that they have some and they don't even know the location. They don't even know if they have what they have right now, because they cannot even point to all of the things they have. That's a big problem. That's wastage. Some persons are living in the slum right now. There are estates in this FCT. If you drive around FCT, you see some estates that are not occupied by anyone, probably because no one pays for them. If it is a place where you pay as an estate owner, you pay a certain amount of money to the federal government, then we will know who owns which property. That property is not paid. It should be confiscated, and the owner will forfeit it, because maybe this money is used for this project and money is gotten out of corruption. So that's what it is. Even in this country right now, as we are speaking, there are some people that have some houses in some places in Abuja that they don't even remember that tenants are living there anymore. Maybe one of their cousin, one of their relatives somewhere is just collecting that money and eating it in his name. He doesn't even know. He has a mouth. They are not bothered. They are not worried. They don't even care, because they are doing well. But what about the Nigerian people who are living under the slum? If you get to Jora-Olopa in Lagos right now, you see people living under the bridge. I've been an eyewitness to it. A family living under the bridge just use wrapper to do some demarcation, and that's where they live. And we're talking about properties that is being inhabited by just birds, rats, So what are we talking about? These are the kind of things that the Minister of Works and Housing, the Minister of FCT, the state commissioners needs to take cognizance of, do something about it. If there are buildings like that, let's get to know who the owners are. I think Minister Wike tried doing something like that at the point. I heard, but I don't know how it went. For people who just acquire land, just grab lands everywhere, they are not doing anything. You see people tell you, oh, we want to demolish this place, we want to do this, we want to do that. What do you want to do with the land? Nothing. Allow the people until you want to do something tangible that will profit Nigerians with the land. So this is very important. If the federal government can trace the properties of government everywhere in the world globally and get them back, it's going to do us a lot of good. The ones that needs to be sold should be sold, and the money pushed into the economy, revamp the economy, bring the economy up. Sponsor people in education, social amenities, be put in order, and roads be made very, very comfortable and motorable. Have pipe-borne waters, have lights. Let's have hospitals. That's just the little Nigerians are asking for, not too much. So this is a good move in the right direction if the federal government can actually go around to make sure whatever property they have, anyone hidden anywhere, because some persons go acquire properties in the name of the federal government, they are the ones using it for them and their family. But because this is massive, it's only a federal government that should own this kind of property, they go there and get the property in the name of the federal government, and their family members are the ones enjoying it. These are the kind of things some people do, allegedly. Some persons, that's what they do, not all. But then if the federal government can trace people like that, we can make Nigeria a great nation. Everyone will not be rushing out. The Japa syndrome will be reduced a little bit. Alright, still bringing you some stories from around the world and the national dailies. Let's quickly look at the Guardian newspaper this morning. Stories on the Guardian newspaper are very few because the First Bank take always all the page. Above the nameplate we have is when he says First Bank takes first shot at Nigeria's Manhattan commences 44-story edifice. Alright, First Bank. Alright, First Bank headquarters groundbreaking ceremony, and you have picture of dignitaries, including the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and of course a lot of CEOs right here. Okay, moving away from there, let's also get to the next people. Like I said, we don't have enough headlines from the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Let's quickly get to the next paper. The next paper being formed right here is the Blueprint newspaper. And on the Blueprint, FEC votes 10.3 billion naira for HIV/AIDS, diagnostic kits, and diabetes medication. That's key because that has to do with the health. This one says Supreme Court judgment, that's the kicker of the story. Fubara fixes Rivers local government election for August 9th. Then this one says First Bank defined by resilience, unshakable customer commitment. Okay. First Bank seems to be on all the pages of the papers this morning. Now from the world of sport, World Cup qualifiers. Zimbabwe capable of beating Super Eagles in Uyo Kushnis. This sounds like a mind game. Come to beat the Super Eagles in Uyo will not be a good one at all. Then this one says Niger Foods partner NALDA Youth Ministry to engage 100,000 people. Alright, that's a good one. Niger Foods Wednesday signed a tripartite agreement with the National Agricultural Land Development Authority. That's NALDA. That's a good one. Then moving away from there, this one says Senate to Natasha, That's the kicker. A sexual harassment petition against Akpabio dead on arrival. Two writers to that story, they says court can't save you. Court cannot save you. Anti-Akpabio protesters storm National Assembly, NEF, others urge caution. Details on page 10. Reason says Innocent hears Mba on security. This is manufacturers happy in Enugu. This one says Lagos lawmakers deny holding reconciliatory meeting with Obasa. You know, the fight in Lagos State, the fight going on at the State Assembly is near over, as the case may be. Miranda stepped down, and of course Obasa is being installed. Sometimes you just think the drama is not worth it, and I don't really know why, instead of facing governance, instead of doing what people are supposed to do, they are always fighting. People are never satisfied. Some persons are even praying to get to the house. Some persons are fighting to become speakers of the house. That's what it is. Alright, some persons contested and they lost that election. They lost in that election. You who have won, the fight now is who to be the speaker of the State Assembly. That has caused a lot of drama. We saw how Obasa stormed the Assembly Secretariat with a lot of armed men. Sometimes I'll keep saying it, certain things don't just happen for happening's sake. He knows he's backing. He knows what he's doing. And that's why he did what he did today. He's right there. That's politics. So sometimes you can't really predict and you can't really tell what the game is all about. But then, I think the most important thing, like I always keep saying, is the people, not even the individuals who are involved in this drama. The people. Remember, leadership is servanthood. If you are a leader, you're supposed to serve the people. Fill the blank spaces where there is vacuum. You fill it up with your expertise. And that's why we need a round peg in round holes and not round pegs in square holes. Alright, so that we wouldn't have falling back all the time. A story coming from the Blueprints newspaper this morning. AFDB approves $230 million trade finance for Access Bank to boost SME FX. Details on page 19. This one says Tinubu deserve praise for low food price during Ramadan. Arewa think tank. Don't just thank the president for Ramadan alone. It is so good, but then let it continue after Ramadan. Let the price of food be stable. Let it be affordable even after the Ramadan. Whatever that was done to sustain this reduction in price should be done to sustain it. If it can be sustained during Ramadan, why won't it be sustained all through? So that all Nigerians, as it is right now, the Ramadan is benefiting, the reduction in food prices during Ramadan is benefiting all Nigerians, not just the Muslim faithfuls alone. So it should be meant to continue. It should be sustained. That's what it means. Alright, more headlines are still coming from the National Daily this morning. Let's quickly get to other stories this morning before we make way for the news at the top of the hour, 8 o'clock. Tinubu, this is from the Nation's newspaper, and above the nameplate, Tinubu Saulu loud First Bank on new headquarters takeoff. Then this one says, I think First Bank owned the Nation's newspaper this morning because everything here is about First Bank. First Bank headquarters groundbreaking ceremony. The same thing we had in the other papers is what we have right here. Let's get to the Vanguard newspaper and see what we have right there as we try to wind up. Above the nameplate, oil price dropped 20% to 67 per barrel. I feel like dancing. I just feel like you know what it means. The price of oil price has dropped 67. The reason why I'm excited is this, not just because of me, but because of what Nigerians are going through. Most times we interface with these people and we hear a whole lot because they feel the media is somehow their best friends right now, because some of them say the judiciary is no longer their friend, it's no longer their last hope, but where their voices can be heard, which is the media. So a lot of them speak to us oftentimes. So anything that would in a way benefit Nigerians, we are happy about it. So don't be surprised that I'm dancing because of the reduction. Well, would it affect, the question is this, would it affect Nigeria positively, the Nigerian market, positively or negatively? That's the question. But then, I think we're still waiting. The reduction by Dangote is not going down well with some marketers. But then, let our interest not surpass the interest of Nigerians, because that is wickedness. If only one man's interest is preferred to the interest of the millions of Nigerians that we have, then it's not going down well yet. All right, Lent, that's the kicker. Pray for wise leaders. Christian Association of Nigeria urges Nigerians. Tariff increase will push available generation to 7,000 megawatts. That's Minister. Then this one says Lagos Assembly crisis. Acting clerk hospitalized after DSS visit. So what's happened? The labor crisis, that's the big story right now. Maryland's Assembly, Fubara's commissioner flex muscles. It's all about the people, not all about you, commissioners and whoever you are. NAFDAC mops up 50 trailer loads of counterfeit drugs. Details read on page 11. Senate urges federal governments to intervene in deadly attacks on Edo villages. Our people will have a whole lot to do right there. Sexual harassment, that's the kicker. Akpabio, Akpoti, Ojualan defend positions. Details read on page 8. Then this one says Nigerians blast Chile's 39-man list for Rwanda, Zimbabwe. Details of that will come to you from the World of Sport this morning. Then finally, let's look at the last paper that we have today, which is This Day newspaper. What's This Day saying this very beautiful 6th day of March 2020, 2025. All right, as a matter of fact, we'll leave the This Day for another time because of our time. Our time is already up. But then, Punch Sport Extra, we have some stories right here. This one says Devils suffer double injury blow ahead of crucial clash. World Cup qualifiers, France optimistic about Chile's squad chances. Newcastle Villa keen on Ademola Lookman. Details read on page 6. Elliott's late strike hands Red slim victory. Then this one says Rafinha snatches win for 10-man Calatans. That is Benfica 0, Barcelona 1. If you watch that game, you know what I'm talking about. As a matter of fact, details of this you can get during the sports show. Okoye in fresh controversy over driving offences. This one says United eye Casado's move. Then Villa urges Barcelona to sign Isak. Mohamed Salah's youth coach advises Anfield stay. Then this one says Ajagba Bakole fight rescheduled for May 3. Then the big story on the Punch Sport Extra this morning says, where's the apology? Where's the apology? Some writers to that story. Nigerians tell Carragher to apologize after controversial AFCON statement. Now from the world of basketball, NBA hails James after 50,000 points milestone. Details read on page 2. And finally, from Sport Extra this morning, we have the result of the matches that were played from the Europa Champions League, right here, and today's fixture is also right here. We can't take all of that. Details you will get during Talk Sport at 10 a.m. today. Thank you for joining us for the newspaper review. We'll go on a quick break. After this break, we return, and it will be time for the AM news that will be coming at the top of the hour, 8 o'clock. After the news, we'll return for the first conversation. Many thanks for staying with us. We'll return after this break.
Do you know that global television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch global television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to Global Television.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews, latest news with experts on key global issues,
and at the same time keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning. Do you know that global television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch global television real time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to Global Television.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
and welcome to all our viewers around the world and in Nigeria to the AM News and Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Ramsey Enoch. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV, channel 365, and StarTimes, channel 276. You can download the Global Television Nigeria mobile app for Android and iOS device to keep track of our broadcasts. President Bola Tinubu has presided over the Federal Executive Council meeting at the State House, Abuja, the fourth in 2025 and the 25th in the administration since the inaugural session held on August 28, 2023. Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, revealed that the council members will converge again on Wednesday for another meeting. Before the meeting, the Permanent Secretary of the Cabinet Affairs Office, Dr. Emanso Okop, who represented the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, led by the members to observe a minute silence in honor of two departed former ministers. The Presidency has outlined new conditions for the quarterly stakeholder and citizens engagement meeting, emphasizing the federal government's commitment to transparency, inclusivity, and citizen participation in governance. The guidelines issued through the Central Delivery Coordination Unit under the Office of the Special Advisor to the President on Policy and Coordination mandate strict requirements for ministries to ensure these meetings serve as genuine platform for public engagement. The unit said the engagement meeting were introduced as a deliverable for every ministry in response to President Bola Tinubu's directive that all ministers regularly communicate government initiatives, beneficial programs, and policy to the public. As fasting continues among Muslims all over the world, residents in Kano say a relative reduction in the price of goods and services is being recorded. Global TV correspondent Idris Jibrin reports hundreds of residents are storming the market on a daily basis.
It's been 5 days since the beginning of Ramadan fast in Nigeria. Markets during this important period are usually busy. From fruits to vegetables, food items to clothes, traders are smiling here. It's been long since we had this huge reduction in price. Apart from some goods from Singa Market, everything here is cheap now. We used to sell this rice at the cost of 4,500 naira, but now it has reduced to 4,000 naira. Beans is now 2,500 naira per measure, compared to 3,000 naira before Ramadan. Millet is now 1,600 naira as against 1,700 naira. According to Kano residents, most commodities price has reduced, but not as expected, which is why people's purchasing power appeared on the increase.
I used to buy these beans 3,500, 3,700, but today I bought it 2,500. I don't know whether they will continue like this or they will stop for more time.
Vegetable and other perishable goods used to be very cost, but not anymore, as the prices of tomato, pepper, onions, and other perishable goods record a sharp reduction in price. Before now, a bag of pepper cost 30,000 naira, but now is 20,000 naira. A small measure of 1,000 naira is now sold at 700 naira. Tomato used to be 19,000 naira, but now is less than 15,000 naira. While customers continues to troop in for their daily iftar shopping, food items continues to arrive by the truckload. From Kano, Idris Jibrin reporting for Global Television.
Zodima of Imo State has restated his administration's commitment to partnering with the military to sustain peace and security in Imo State. The governor said this during a courtesy visit by the General Officer Commanding 82 Division, Nigeria Army Enugu, Major General Olufemi Olatoye at the Government House in Owerri. Our correspondent Amarachi Ibe reports.
Major General Olatonye and other security heads at the Sambakwe Esco Chambers. Governor Uzodinma emphasized the strong collaboration between the state government, security agencies, and the people of Imo. He assured the new GOC of his administration's continued support in creating a secure and conducive environment for residents and businesses.
On our own part, we will give you every support, every cooperation to ensure that the people of Southeast and residents here will have peace and be able to go about their businesses without fear of any molestation. It's our hope that you will continue with the speed and determination you have used all this while to ensure that the public interest will be protected.
Governor Uzodinma noted that the state aligns with the President Bola Tinubu's renewed strategy for national security and highlighted the improved interagency cooperation in the state, which he said has contributed to significant security improvements. He urged the ministry to intensify efforts in ensuring stability across the state.
I inform you that in Imo State, we have the best interagency cooperation, where both the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Police, the DSS are working together. For the past 6 years, we have never witnessed any rivalry among our agencies in Imo State. It's a credit that we also want other states to emulate.
In his remarks, Major General Olatonye said his visit was aimed at familiarizing himself with the state's leadership and reaffirming the military's commitment to its security mandate. He commended Governor Uzodinma for his proactive approach to governance and encouraged the continued use of non-kinetic strategy in tackling security threats.
The visit is actually designed for me to ascertain the operational readiness of Sector 4, appraise the challenges as well as their successes. It is equally a time for me to appeal to Your Excellency that you should not deter in the coordination of all non-kinetic measures to eradicate all threats to security in Imo State.
As security remains a priority, both the Imo State government and the Nigerian Army are strengthening their partnership to enhance peace and development across the state. From Government House Owerri, Amarachi Ibe, reporting for Global TV News.
President Bola Tinubu has described former President Olusegun Obasanjo as an extraordinary leader and statesman whose contribution to Nigeria's development remain indelible. Tinubu stated that Obasanjo's regular intervention in national affairs, sometimes controversial, have helped shape public policies and put leaders in check. In a birthday tribute to mark Obasanjo's 88th birthday, Tinubu hailed the former president's decades-long service to the nation, acknowledging his role in shaping Nigeria's political landscape both as a military and civilian leader. The Benue State government has signed a one-year work plan of understanding with the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund for the promotion of nutrition among children and women. The Deputy Governor Sam Ode, on behalf of the government, assured them of maximum cooperation in order to provide basic resources for the Benue child. Facility Ndere reports.
The Memorandum of Understanding between the Benue State Government and UNICEF is for the improvement in child indices in the state. The Chief Field Officer at UNICEF, Enugu Field Office, Ms. Julia Chiluwe, says the multi-year work plan of 2025 to 2027 is the joint commitment towards the realization of the rights of children and women in the current country program of cooperation of 2023 to 2027.
We are requesting for the federal government in terms of their domestic resources to allocate at least 1% of its domestic budget towards strengthening of the primary health care. So it means if the government is able to put such amount of money for PHC, we'll be able to eradicate zero dose, polio, malnutrition, and the like.
The Deputy Governor Sam Ode, who performed the ceremony on behalf of the state government, said the role of UNICEF towards nutrition social policy development can never be overemphasized, assuring them of maximum cooperation to the full implementation of the work plan.
For us, we consider it as an emergency, and I must tell you here on behalf of the governor that we are committed to our own part of this bargain. All the counterpart funding we need to put in place to match whatever you are doing so that we can deliver on the expected objectives. The Benue State government is going to do so.
The UNICEF Chief Field Officer said, with due process and diligence, the work plan will be achieved as it aligns with the present administration's policy to adequately manage the well-being of vulnerable people in the state. In Makurdi, Celestine Dere, Global TV News.
The Senate Committee on Ethnic Privileges and Public Petitions has rejected calls for live television coverage of the proceedings against the senator representing Kogi Central, Natasha Akpoti-Oduaghan. A chairman of the committee, Senator Neda Amason, disclosed this during an interview. It was reported that the Kogi lawmaker has called for live coverage of the committee's hearing over her clash with the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, over seat allocation. The Rivers State House of Assembly has summoned the chairman of the State Independent Electoral Commission, Justice Adolphus Enebeli, retired, to appear before the House within 48 hours over the conduct of the 2024 local government election. The House, during plenary presided over by its Speaker, Martin Amaule, also threatened to issue a warrant for the arrest of the chairman if he fails to appear before the House at the expiration of the ultimatum. The House also resolved to write Governor Siminalayi Fubara to forward the names of all his commissioners that were not screened by the Amaule-led assembly. The Rivers State government said it is yet to receive any document on the Martin Amaule-led House of Assembly resolution following last Friday's Supreme Court judgment. Recall that the Speaker, Martin Amaule, in a letter addressed the Rivers State Governor, Siminalayi Fubara, requested that later to present the 2025 appropriation bill to the House within 48 hours, in line with the 1999 Constitution. However, in a statement by the Secretary to the Rivers State Government, Dr. Tammy Danagogo maintained that the Governor is yet to receive the letter, saying the state government heard of the purported on social media. Meanwhile, the Senate Committee on Ethnic Privilege and Public Petition has rescheduled the disciplinary proceeding against Senator Natasha Akpoti-Oduaghan. The Kogi Central lawmaker clashed with the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, on February 20 over seat allocation. Akpoti-Oduaghan rejected her assigned seat, defying Akpabio's order and repeatedly raising a point of order despite being overruled. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Tuga, has argued that the international system, once considered a bedrock for global cooperation, is increasingly failing to meet the needs of many countries, particularly those in Africa. Tuga spoke at a Chatham House focusing on Nigeria's evolving foreign policy and global aspiration. He pointed out that many African nations, including Nigeria, have long experienced challenges that the current international frameworks have struggled to address. Party supporters of All Progressive Congress, that is APC, in Benue State have been encouraged to remain steadfast in their resolve to stand by the present administration in the state and Nigeria at large. The state governor, Hyacinth Alia, made the call while inaugurating the office of the political support group, the Vista Support Initiative for Tinubu and Alia for 2027. Uyi Agumafogwe completes the story.
As the 2027 general election inches closer, political support groups are pitching tents ahead of the exercise. The inauguration of the Living Star Support Group for Tinubu and Alia 2027, according to Benue State Governor Hyacinth Alia, is an opportunity for them to showcase solidarity and capacity in ensuring the success of the APC ahead of the election. Represented by the Deputy Governor, Sam Ode, Alia said he is overwhelmed with the show of acceptance by the people for him to consolidate on his mandate of delivering quality leadership, calling on the group not to relent in building their membership and database.
If you are a coordinator for presidential election or governorship election at this level, you are already a raw material that can be tapped. So your performance in your respective local governments will determine what will happen to you in 2027.
Convener of the group, Livinus Tar, explained that the agenda is to garner support for President Bola Tinubu and Governor Hyacinth Alia across all the 23 local government areas of the state. The event also featured the inauguration of coordinators for the 23 local government areas of the state and launch of a magazine to showcase achievements. Uyi Agumafwebe, reporting for Global Television News.
The Federal High Court sitting in Kaduna has ordered the temporary forfeiture of 1.37 billion naira allegedly diverted into the private account of Indo-Kanu Kaduna Mats JV Nigeria Limited under the former Governor Nasir El-Rufai's government. The court also directed the applicants to publish a notice in any two national newspapers calling for first whether human, justice or artificial having interest in the property to show cause in accounts, while the movable property should not be permanently forfeited to the federal government. The ex parte order given by Justice G.M. Kabara on February 28, 2025 was a sequel to the application filed on February 14, 2025. The Catholic Bishop of Enugu Diocese, Most Reverend Callistus Onaga, has urged Nigerians to use the 2025 Lenten season to seek true repentance and shun evil. Onaga made the call in his Lenten message to Nigerians in Enugu. Lent is the 40-day fasting and praying period by Christians all over the world leading to Easter celebration. The All Progressive Congress, that is APC in Benue State, has promised new and old members of the party of equal opportunity in building a stronger house. The state governor, Hyacinth Alia, made the emphasis at the ceremony to mark the defection, where thousands of defectors from different political parties joined the ruling APC in Lesser Ushongo local government area of the state. Ugochukwu Mobuno has more.
The All Progressive Congress hierarchy under the leadership of the Governor Hyacinth Alia arrived Leso, headquarters of the Ushongo local government area, where supporters gathered in demonstration of their support for the party. Deputy Governor Sam Ode, who represented the governor, while addressing the crowd of supporters, reaffirmed the commitment of the present administration to continue to align with policies and programs targeted at improving the well-being of the masses. He assured both old and new members of the party of equal opportunities for the overall development and good of the state.
That your own son is today a professor and is also on his way joining us in this game of politics to continue from where you stopped. We appreciate you. We are not unmindful of your contributions to the growth of democracy in this country.
Majority Leader of the Benue State House of Assembly, Sata Tisa, insisted that the Oshongo people have every cause to support the governor due to his love, as demonstrated by key appointments of their sons and daughters in the present administration, as well as numerous projects being witnessed in the area.
The governor here is a blessing. It's a testimony that we are working and representing them very well. And because the governor has come here, it's assurance that everything that is in their interest.
Leader of the DECAMSIS, Professor Kohol Lorem and others maintained that their decision to join the APC is due to the governor's style of leadership and promised to give their best to the party. APC Acting Chairman Dr. Benjamin Omale and the Chairman of the APC Elder Forum, Senator Barnabas Gemade, and other party stalwarts thanked the DECAMSIS for the bold step in joining the ruling party, urging them to team up with the governor to accelerate development in the state.
Today is not just an original gathering, it's a strong and resounding statement of confidence in our great party. It is clear sign that the good people of Osongo local government area and Benue State at large are choosing progress, development, prosperity aligned with our APC party.
While we pay tribute to Governor Abeleku and Reverend Father Moses, we miss no words whatsoever in stating very clearly that if we did not see Reverend Father Dr. Hyson Yomamalia as Governor of Benue State, we would never have known that governors can make progress for their people.
Supporters carried placards with various inscriptions demonstrating their support and solidarity for the governor and the APC. Ogochukwu Mobno reporting for Global Television News.
In the meanwhile, Benue State Governor Hyacinth Alia says vulnerable groups and communities are to receive more support from the state government in the area of capacity building and provision of incentives to boost economic activities and drive empowerment. The governor disclosed this at the Thanksgiving service in honor of the Executive Secretary of the State Emergency Management Agency, Dr. James Ayupo, in Sambe, Vanlikia Local Government. Felicity Ndere reports.
The Thanksgiving service was in honor of the Executive Secretary of the State Emergency Management Agency, SEMA, Dr. James Ayupo, and their son, the Executive Governor of Benue State, Hyacinth Alia, for the uncommon service being rendered to the state. Governor Hyacinth Alia, who acknowledged infrastructure and social support deficiency in the area, announced that the state government will install 2 500 kVA transformers in Tambe and 6 motorized poleholes in each of the 5 kindreds to solve the challenges of electricity and water. In order to provide a better future for vulnerable people, the governor donated 10 million naira to support 30 people with special needs in the area, in addition to providing them with 2 months intensive training. Paramount ruler of the Tiv Nation, His Royal Majesty Professor James Ayate and Most Reverend Isaac Dugu, encouraged the governor to ensure the implementation of the open grazing prohibition and ranches establishment law to check the influx of herders in Sankara, Kwandi and other parts of the state. The celebrant was filled with immense gratitude to God for his immeasurable blessings and protection.
Through my interaction with UN organizations, to have UN present in Benue State today. And so we are happy that, and then Federal has launched Tribute Solution Action Plan, which will now direct us how to move this agreement to ancestral home. So these are the joy I am sharing today as well, that the RDP are met if we meet them today, they will also be thanking God that Fadalia is doing well.
He also announced the adoption of an orphan whose parents were killed in the Kwande attacks as part of his humanitarian service to the society. At St. Margaret Catholic Church, Chichi, Tsambe in Vanike local government area of the state. Felicity Ndere, Global TV News.
You're watching the live broadcast of the AM News. When the AM News return, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire urged junta to rejoin ECOWAS. We have those details from the world of business as well as more story from foreign and sports segment for you right after this break.
Do you know that global television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch global television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to Global Television.
From the world of sport, LeBron James has become the first player in NBA history to secure 50,000 combined points as he helped the Los Angeles Lakers to victory over the New Orleans Pelicans. The 40-year-old American surpassed the mark early in the first quarter of his size 136-115 win, gathering a pass from Luka Doncic and sinking a sublime 25-foot three-pointer. James, the leading scorer in the competition's history, finished the match on 34 points to take his career total to 6,149, which is 6,000 clear of second place Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And that's it on the AM News. A quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTimes channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen using @Global TV NG. You can download the Global TV Nigerian's mobile app for Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcast. I am Ramsey Enoch. Thank you for watching.
Do you know that global television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch global television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to Global Television.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning. Do you know that global television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch global television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to Global Television.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest. The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Hello and welcome to another wonderful time. It's been a very lovely time since morning. Welcome back from the AM News. Of course, we are here to bring you to speed with happenings around the world from the national dailies. We got into discussing one or two things, then reviewing the papers, then the AM News, and now we're here for the first conversation for the day. Today we want to look at something very important, and of course, a lot of people in Nigeria right now are very, very keen about what is happening in the economy. And of course, the GDP. So today, I want us to look at the growth of the GDP and the sector that has actually contributed to this growth. Because if you say a GDP is growing, a sector must have contributed to the growth. And what are the factors that actually led to this growth on its own? And of course, the downsides of the growth. And we have Dennis joining us on the program today. As a matter of fact, Dennis is an economist, is a developmental economist, and he's also a researcher. And of course, he has a lot to do with data analysis too. And the topic basically is economic development, GDP growth, and of course the implications is worth talking about. Remember, the budget has just been passed, and a lot of people are asking questions because some Nigerians don't even know how things are going. Some will tell you the economy, but if you sit them down to tell you one or two things about the economy, they don't even know what to say, for some anyway, but some persons actually know their audience. So Dennis Adesanoye is right here with us this morning. It's good to have you join us on Global Morning today.
Good morning, Mr. Ramsey. It's always a pleasure being here.
All right, let's quickly look at the GDP because a lot is going on. A lot of people are saying so many things. And of course, after the budget was passed, a lot of people were asking questions. Where are we? What's happening to the GDP? You know, is it growing? Who is making it grow? And all of that. So let's look at a few things. As a matter of fact, the National Bureau of Statistics, like we all know, the National Bureau of Statistics, as we speak, recently announced Nigeria's gross domestic product, and that is GDP. Anytime we say GDP is an acronym for gross domestic product. The growth rose to 3.4%, as a matter of fact, for year on year in 2024. So right now, let's begin to look at the GDP now. So what is GDP? First of all, the people need to know what is GDP. When we say gross domestic product, some persons are saying, are they speaking Latin? What are they saying? So let's get started with what GDP is then. As a matter of fact, why is it important at all? All right, important economic indicator of this GDP. What are they? Can you just give us an enlightenment?
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Ramsey. What about the gross domestic product, that's GDP? GDP can be defined as the total value of the goods and services produced in an economy in a particular year or particular quarter or month. So, but basically, it's been being brought out of quarterly or yearly. So it shows, the value of production in a particular country. It shows what they're able to produce in the whole economy in a given year. Why you talk about a GDP growth rate? GDP growth rate measures the persistent change, in the production, in the economic production of a country, maybe quarterly or yearly, from year to year, from quarter to quarter. So the growth rate now measures the percentage increase in the production of goods and services in the country over the years. For last year, according to the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, the economy grew by 3.4%. That was year on year, compared to the 2.8% growth we recorded in 2023. So throughout last year, the economy was able to grow by 3.4%. Also, the last quarter of last year, which was the Q4 2024, the economy grew by 3.84%. That's when you compare that now to the corresponding quarter in 2023, that's the Q4 2023, so which was 3.46%. So last year, for it to have grown at the last quarter by 3.84% was good. And also, if you consider it to the previous quarter, that's Q3 of last year, that was also 3.46%. So having the economy grow by 3.48% in the last of the year was something that was very good. I want to talk about what led to the growth.
Yes, I wanted to ask what really led to the growth.
To answer that question, definitely, I think the reform agenda of the government is beginning to yield little fruit. I
want to get that clear. The reform agenda, the policy.
Yeah, we're going to see
that brought.
We're going to see little gains now.
Okay,
they're very little. We're going to see them. This could be attributed to, I would say, three things. The first thing is that due to the combination of fiscal and monetary policies adjustment in the economy last year. Remember that there were a lot of adjustments at the fiscal side, that's the government side, the Ministry of Finance, the federal government, and also the monetary space, that's for the CBN now. There is some adjustment with the both carried out. So the combination of all these adjustments was a key factor that led to this economic growth we witnessed last year. And also another factor can also be the liberalization in the economic space. We've seen that the economy had a lot of liberalization compared to what we had before. Now we see the market force of demand and supply determine the fuel price compared to when government would just fixed the fuel price. So now we've seen some economic liberalization in the economy. And also thirdly, we can see that there's some investment in some sectors, some key sectors of the economy. There's some investment there. So these three factors to me are the key reasons why the economy witnessed a 3.4% growth last year. And also, in addition to that, we can see that there's some macroeconomic stability. There's some macroeconomic stability fundamentals that were witnessed last year. This macroeconomic stability fundamentals, led to let me put it this way. There are three factors as well that's also stabilized the macroeconomic stability last year. And these three factors also boosted investors' confidence in the Nigerian economy. So, we have more foreign investors coming to the economy last year. Even local investors, they now have more confidence in the economy due to three things. The first thing is that fuel subsidy has been removed our fuel subsidy. And of course, now you have the market force of demand and supply determine, the fuel prices. So no longer that the government is now regulating that sector. So that give investors confidence to bring their money and invest in the economy. Also, another point that led to stability in the macroeconomic fundamental last year was also the exchange rate. We can see that the unification of the exchange rate was one of the big factors that gave investors confidence to invest in the economy. And of course, lastly, we can see that these aggressive tax reforms of the government also boosted the investors' confidence to invest in the economy like we have before. And also, some factors also contributed to the increase in this GDP. We can see that some increment in we've seen increment in the foreign direct investment in FDIs, in FPIs, and that means in foreign direct investment and even foreign portfolio investment. We've seen increased, in that area, especially in the fintech area, in the industrial area. We've seen some FDIs coming in. So all these factors sum up together and led to the increment in the GDP value from 2.8 in 2023 to 3.4% last year.
So what is the GDP performance of the different sectors in the economy in the outgone year? And our viewers would be interested, as a matter of fact, for you to break it down, as a matter of fact, because we need all of this so that we can be sure of what we are seeing, the breakdown. Let Nigerians know, because when you made mention of the fact that at least the economy is picking up a little bit, someone who is not an economist will not understand. So we need a little breakdown for our viewers as we get into this question now.
Okay, actually, when we talk about the GDP figure coming out, the GDP is broken down into different sectors. They also shows growth from different sectors. You have the service sector, agri sector, manufacturing sector, real estate sector, ICT sector. So many sectors' growth will be considered. So when they sum up together, that's what brings about the total, the aggregate GDP. So some sectors performed very well, while some didn't perform very well. The GDP growth for Nigeria last year saw the service sector as a major driver of the economic growth we witnessed last year. And what are the service sector? We're talking about the telecom sector, the banking sector, and of course, telecom sector, banking sector. So this sector, alongside trade sector, were the major driver of the economy last year, because we saw the service sector, grow by 5.86%, and of course, it contributed 57.38% to the total GDP figure for Nigeria last year. So this service sector was a very real contributor, a very real driver. I was talking about the fintech sector, the banking sector, and of course the telecom sector. So we saw it has a robust growth last year. It usually drove the economy, but unfortunately some key sectors did not do very well last year. For example, the manufacturing sector contracted. The same with the agri sector. In economics, when you mean they contracted, that means the growth went down. When we say an economic contrast, that means that we have a decline growth in that sector. So we saw agri sector, though they grew, but they recorded
farm because of the security problems.
Of course, they recorded slow growth. The same thing with manufacturing sector. Recorded slow growth. They grew, but the growth was sluggish. One was the sluggish growth, so which wasn't too really good enough. Of course, we have the electricity sector also experienced slow growth in the course of the year. This is due to the fact that we have incessant collapse of the national grid, and of course we have continued vandalization of critical power infrastructure all over the country last year. So this led to a slow growth for the electricity sector, and of course, this slow growth in that sector has hindered, industrial productivity, and also led to increase in the production cost for companies, because that sector didn't grow. I think about 2-3 days ago, the Manufacturing Association of Nigeria came out to say that 40% of their of their operation cost is being spent on power generation. So they spent 40% of their production cost on power generation, which means they have been forced to generate their own power supply in those industrial sector. So that's why we've seen the sector, not really growing well last year as well. But one good thing about the GDP report was that for the first time in almost a decade, I think in about 8 or 9 years, we saw the petroleum refining sector, growing. It has been contrasting the last 8 or 9 years. It has been declining. GDP growth for that sector has been declining in the last 8 years. But for the first time in almost a decade, we saw, an increased GDP growth for the refinery sector, which was a 9.6%, a massive one, 9.6%. And this is majorly due to the commencement of refining in Dangote Refinery and also NNPC Refinery. One of them is working right now with the Dangote refinery. So that's why we saw an increased GDP growth in that petroleum refinery sector of 9.6% last year. But majorly, in a nutshell, the service and the trade sector were the major drivers of the economy in last year.
All right, we're looking at something very important here. But then, having gone through the 2024 GDP report now, like we've just done, we've gone through the report, we've had an understanding of why we had this growth, the sectors that actually made this happen. And now, I think it's important because having gone through this 2024 report now, are you satisfied? Okay, with the overall state of the economy in the year on that reference, because it is one thing to have this growth, it's one thing to be satisfied with it. You now as an expert, are you satisfied? If you're satisfied, you tell us why. If you're not satisfied, you tell us why, so that Nigerians, our viewers, can actually cue into this growth.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Ramsey. Well, the GDP report is not all it's not all good things about the GDP reports. Personally, there were some downsides in the GDP report. The GDP report shows that the economy rely much on the service sector and the trade sector. These two sectors powered the GDP growth we witnessed last year. So it shows that we didn't have inclusive growth last year. So, major sectors of the economy, key sectors of the economy did not contribute to this growth. Agri sector, manufacturing sector, consumer sector, they did not contribute to, they did not contribute much to this growth. So, relying on trade and service sector, to grow the economy isn't healthy for the economy, to say. It's not too healthy for the economy when you have the service sector and the trade sector powering, economic growth. These two things, because although there's positive growth in the economy, everybody can see clearly, but there are critical concerns, about real productivity and also economic, shall I say, stability. Because why? When you have growth coming from this sector, it's not that reliable. The gains you achieve over this period of time can be easily wiped off, because these sectors, we're not seeing real growth in the industrial sector.
So that's the implication now.
Of course, there's no real productivity. There are some concerns about it. It's good to see the positive growth, but where it's coming from, we're not comfortable with the sector that is really coming from, because our sector is not powering it. We're not seeing my sector is not powering it. So there are some concerns now about economic stability. It may not be sustainable. It may not lead to stability, because there are the reliance on service sector, with declined contribution coming from agri sector, from manufacturing sector, process, process sustainability risk for the economy. It shows that it's a threat. It may not be sustainable, because if it's coming from agri sector, I would be very happy. It can be sustained,
especially now that there is complaint everywhere about telecom tariff hike and all of that. So anything can happen, and it will affect the
telecom sector is part of the service sector, because they grew very well. Fintech, banking, telecom sector. Yeah, the service sector that really propelled the growth we witnessed in the economy in 2024. So economic growth, that largely driven by trade and service sector, on a very good day, ought to have been complemented by robust expansion in the agricultural sector and manufacturing sector or the industrial sector, so that it can create quality jobs, so that it can enhance the value addition to the economy, and so that it can also boost food production and agriculture in the economy. So we've seen growth in the service and trade sector, but it would have been good if it was complemented by growth by robust expansion as well in the agri sector and industrial sector. This will have created quality jobs to enhance value addition to our economy, and all that. But by and large, having a 3.8% economic growth is a positive sign. Let's be realistic. It's a positive sign that we begin to see little dividends of these structural reforms upon by the president. For example, so far Nigeria is going through economic challenges. We all know that. So for the economy to have grown at 3.4 despite the economic challenges we've seen, last year, is a very positive sign for the economy. But the fact remains that this economic growth needs to be translated into tangible economic benefit for Nigerians. So we need to translate this economic growth to tangible benefit that people can see, people can witness, can put food on their table. So that's my issue with the GDP report. It's a positive sign.
So these implications now, because we are happy for the shift, at least, despite the challenging and dwindling economy, the experience of 2024. A lot of people said 2024 is one year that we cannot forget in a hurry because of the experience. Nigerians went through so much. But then, despite that, we had a little growth. Now, we've seen the implication. As an expert, what would be your advice to the federal government, to those in the manufacturing industry, those in other key sectors that should try, or what do they need to do so that their own effort can also complement that of these service sectors that were able to make us have is the banking sector, the fintech, then the telcos? What's your advice?
Thank you very much. Before I go to the advice, like I said at the time, that the growth there was not inclusive. So
yes,
it's not inclusive. It may not be sustainable. May not be sustainable. For example, let me give an example. Maybe you have a football team now. Your striking force, your attack is doing very well, scoring goals, contributes to the to the team's achievement, to the team victory. Maybe your midfield department is not really growing very well. Your defense is growing but very sluggish growth. The attack alone cannot prepare you to victory. Because you might score 5 goals in a game, but your defense is not good. You concede 7 goals. You still end up losing. So that's why I'm saying that they're not inclusive. That there's some gaps need to be covered in these sectors, in the agri sector, manufacturing sector, in the construction sector. We need to cover some gaps. They are growing.
So they need attention right now, so
of course. And of course, we need to grow by at least 5% GDP growth in a year for us to have a good economy. So when we talk about what does the government need to do to really make sure that we sustain this growth, because this year now the effort should be on ground to make sure that they sustain this growth. I think first of all, the government needs to remove some structural bottlenecks that are hindering productivity in some sectors, some key sectors. There are some structural bottlenecks that are injuring their productivity. For example, in the agri sector, there are a lot of bottlenecks there. Farmers can't go to the farm, no mechanization and all that. In the industrial sector, the cost of production is very high, the diesel. So we need to remove these bottlenecks that are really injuring productivity in key sectors of the economy. And also, government need to government thinking Nigeria needs to develop a comprehensive industrial strategy that can boost our local manufacturing capacity. We are not producing enough in this country. We need to start producing. So when we produce, we can earn foreign exchange. We can improve our exchange rate. We can have more money to spend. So we need to develop a comprehensive industrial strategy that can really boost our local production. And also, this year, I expect the government to as well, invest in mechanization, irrigation, and maybe improve seed varieties so that we can boost agri production and also food production. There needs to be investment in that area. Mechanized farming should be the order of the day. We need to give farmers irrigation, give farmers a lot of support, because we need to have robust growth in that agri sector this year so that we can have a sustainable and inclusive economic growth. And as well, government need to address economic insecurity, especially in those areas where they produce food. There are still problems in Benue. Some farmers can't still go to farm. This is the food bank of the nation in the northwest. The nation relies on them for some key agri products. Farmers, they can't still go to farm, due to insecurity. So government needs to address this insecurity concern this year. And of course, to have a social economy this year as well, government needs to invest in key infrastructure like roads, like the power sector, like ports. So we need if these areas are already taken care of, I expect a robust growth this year.
All right, this is 2025. We expect you've already talked about the sustainability. What should be done so that it should be sustained, right? We've talked about what can be done for it to be sustained in 2025. We've talked about that already.
Yeah.
Then now, what is your outlook or prediction for the Nigerian economy in this year 2025? Because a lot of people the expectation is so much. Like you said something just now, no matter the grammar we speak, if not until Nigerians begin to have some tangible feelings of the economy, they won't know anything is happening. But then I think it's so good that the GDP is speaking of, the economy is speaking of, there is a growth, even though it's not all encompassing yet, it's not all inclusive. So now, can we look at the outlook of prediction for Nigeria as economy this year 2025? The year is just starting. This is March.
Thank you, Mr. Ramsey. I for one, I think I can forecast a sustained positive economic growth trajectory for Nigeria this year. What I mean is that I expect the economic growth recorded last year to be sustained this year. It's very little growth we recorded last year. We see little signs, so I forecast that the growth will be likely be retained this year. So that's what I'm saying. I see a positive economic growth trajectory in the economy this year. So far, government can carry out two things. Firstly is that if the federal government can continue the implementation of its structural reforms, if they can continue to, to implement these structural reforms in the economy they are embarking on. And also number two, government needs to, if government can carry out strategic investment in some key sectors of the economy, like power, like road, we need some strategic investment, not the word strategic, in those areas. We need to, for example now, we need rural, there's some roads that are roads in Nigeria that are very key to the economy. They are very strategic. Invest in these areas, not areas where you don't have, there's no reason for investing there. You just do that for political reason or for political gains. So we need strategic investment in some key sectors of the economy. So if these two things are done, I expect or I forecast a positive economic growth trajectory for the economy this year. But by and large, even if federal government carries out these two areas I talked about, there's some threats to the economic growth of Nigeria this year, even if federal government carry out those two things. First of all, to me, I think there are 3 or 4 threats. The key one is the inflationary pressure this year. Inflation has to be tamed this year. It has to be brought down to a reasonable level. Remember the last time we were on this program, we discussed about how National Bureau of Statistics rebased the CPI calculation, and of course inflation coming down to 24.8% from the 34.8% it was last year. So we need to bring inflation to maybe lower than maybe below 20% this year. Then maybe I expect inflation to keep going down till around May or June. Around May or June, we're having the first period this period. So we need to make sure that inflationary pressure does not really go beyond what will affect the economy this year. Also, this year, I see exchange rate volatility might also affect the economy. The exchange rate needs to be a bit stable this year. We need this instability over the past few months. This is very good for the economy. Even if the exchange rate, doesn't go to 1,000 to 1,000, it has to be stable. If it's between 1,003 to 1,005 throughout this year, I think it's a bit good because investors need a stable exchange rate for them to invest. You can, for example, now you're a manufacturer, you can order goods, you can order for maybe for machinery from China, from US at this exchange rate. Before they come back, it has gone up. So for economy to really grow this year, we need to tame the volatility in the exchange rate, and also the government need to address security concerns this year if we are to achieve economic growth.
All right, thank you very much, Dennis. Dennis, I want to take you to the 2025 budget a little bit. The budget has been passed. I don't know if you have looked at the budget, and some persons don't even know the implication of the passage of the budget. Generally, what would you want to say about the budget that has been passed? The passage of budget, is it timely? Is it good? What we have, the figures, are they okay? Is it going to contribute to the economy? What do the people need to do? Someone was asking me, the person was, has the money been given to the states already? And all of that. Is it that they need to hit the ground running? Because whether you like it or not, some money will pass through some hands, and some persons are already calculating what they need to take away and all of that. So all of this put together, budget as a whole, a country's budget, of what importance is a country's budget to the growth of the economy, the GDP, we're talking about sectors and all of that?
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Ramsey. I want to talk about a budget. Even personally, budget is important to us. In the family now, you know how much you earn in a year, in a month, how much you want to spend. So budget is very key to the survival of the economy. However, to me, I don't really bother much about the price of the budget or the figures in the budget. What I really bother on much is the implementation of the budget. How far are you able to implement the budget? How far will the government go in making sure that they achieve the fundamentals in the budget? So for this year now, for the budget to be able to have meaningful impact on the economy, we need to reduce deficit financing. We need to reduce deficit financing. Definitely, how can we reduce deficit financing? We need to grow. We need to grow our, income. Revenue needs to grow. And how can we grow this revenue? It's very good these days that we're having oil production increasing. Most of the budget relies on oil production capacity. So if Nigeria can grow its oil production by maybe close to 1.9 million barrels per day or 2 million barrels per day this year, that will help in the implementation of the budget. Because why? So that can reduce deficit financing. So as well, a government should, ensure that this budget is, is highly implemented to the letter. If they can achieve high penetration rate in the budget this year, I see some light at the end of the tunnel at the end of this year. So I expect the growth to be sustained at the end of this year.
Okay, the growth to be sustained. All right, a lot of Nigerians right now, like you said, they are very curious. We talked about what Nigerians just heard from everything you've said now. If you ask a lot of people, the majority of the people they take home is that at least the economy is picking up gradually. Now, what would you have to say to Nigerians? Because you made mention of the oil sector, the petroleum sector, at least Dangote Refinery is working now. It's a plus to the people. And of course, Port Harcourt Refinery, we were told it's going to be working, but we don't know how fast they are working on that. We don't know how much product is coming from there. On the whole right now, okay, as an economist, what would you have to say to Nigerians? Because the president have always said there's going to be light at the end of the tunnel. And this morning, they've said on one of the papers, they said everything they are doing is to balance, to bring stability to the economy globally. That's what they are doing. It's on the paper today. What's your own school of thought looking at what Nigerians are going through right now as an economist? People are hungry. But then a lot happening. Dangote has reduced the price of fuel, the price of barrel at the international market is coming down. I think 67% or something. Yes, well, this morning. So as it is right now, would all of this culminate and make Nigeria smile? This is what we're talking about.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Ramsey. I remember I said on this program last year, we talked about the issue between the oil marketers and Dangote. I said that it's good for governments to totally withdraw from the oil sector, the oil price, so that the market forces of demand and supply can determine the actual oil price in the economy. And I remember I said at the time that it will force down the price of the price of fuel as time goes on. That this competition is good for the economy, it's healthy. Now we're seeing the competition between Dangote Refinery and the NNPC, which is very good for us. So to me personally, I sympathize with Nigerians because I'm also part of the economy as well. I feel the pains as well. I go through what Nigerians going through. The economic reforms, the structural adjustment of the of this present government has no doubt brought untold hardship to people, especially the force of the removal and of course the exchange unification has really caused untold hardship for the country. But like I always said, these are necessary policies that need to be embarked upon if Nigeria is to move forward. You know, the country was at the brink of collapse. We needed to remove the subsidy, and of course you can't continue spending over $20 million in a month to keep your exchange rate at a freak level where it shouldn't be. So I support the policies of the government, but just that I expect the government to have put in place some programs to cushion the effect of the hardship on the people. Definitely, this reform will bring hardship to people. So for me, I expect the government to have done this, to have brought shock absorbers in the economy, so that it will ameliorate the suffering of people before they embark on this, crucial economic policy. But it's very good now that we're beginning to see gains of this reform coming. No matter how little they may be, the economy has shown that the economy is gradually recovering from this. But Nigerians need to feel the gains, need to put food on the table. We need to bring the inflation rate. If we can tame inflation rate, I think this will be very good. Like I was saying, to me, insecurity needs to be looked into. We need to look into security. We need to boost food production. Like I said earlier, boosting food production will bring down the inflation rate. When inflation rate comes down, it has drag effect on the economy. People will feel it, masses will feel it. So, this can lead to production. When there's productivity in the economy, when people can, for example, now, I'm a manufacturer, when the cost of production has gone down for me, then I can increase my production, I'll get more sales, I can employ more people. So, if you don't get them, do this now will increase the aggregate demand in the economy. So, for us, I think Nigerians have tried enough. They are going through a lot, but this year, I expect, for example now, people are now used to the fact that fuel price is between 800 naira and 1000 naira. It might be going up and down, but we are now sure that there's no longer fuel scarcity. It's now stable, and of course, we now know that the price of fuel now is being determined by, the price of oil at the international market, and of course, the exchange rate. So we know that we may never see oil sell for 500 naira, 400 naira again in our lifetime. It might not be possible again. And of course, but now we can know the band at which people can buy fuel. Then maybe it cannot go beyond 1,000.
The Nigerians are praying that it should drop to 500 to 400. Some are even saying 200.
This prayer, if it happens, if you answer this prayer, it will also have effect negatively on the country. Because why? It can only happen if the crude oil price at the international market goes down. And if it keeps falling, the fuel price will keep going down. The Nigerian revenue will be going down. Remember that.
Okay, we are also exporters.
Of course, Nigerian budget is tied to oil price at the world market. Because more than 80% of our revenue is from the oil sector. So when the oil price globally is coming down, it will affect the masses positively because fuel price will come down, but the economy will suffer. We will not have budget deficit. The government will not have enough money to now carry out their programs in the budget. So that's why we have budget deficit. We will not be forced to be borrowing. So when you borrow, of course, you pay more pressure, it will also lead to inflation, all those things. So you could answer the prayer that oil price should come down to the international market. It's good for the masses, but I can tell you, for the economy, it's not, because
but can't we diversify instead of just concentrating on the crude oil? Are there not other natural resources that we can diversify to and build the economy? But fuel now affects almost everything. Why is all attention on fuel?
That's why I always talk about agric sector. That's why it was very sad. That's why I wasn't too happy when we discovered that the agricultural sector and the manufacturing sector did not contribute much to the GDP growth we witnessed last year. They had growth, but it was sluggish growth. So that's why I was concerned. We need to produce goods. We need to produce an import so that we can earn foreign exchange, which will give you stable exchange rate. Which should translate, which should boost your economy, which should lead to employment. So we need to put more effort on the manufacturing sector, and that's why I said earlier that we need a comprehensive industrialization strategy to boost, our local manufacturing capacity. We're not manufacturing, even blade, we can do it here. Even ordinary blade, even little tools we need for farming, we can do that here. Tractor need to be imported. We are basically producing nothing here. when it comes to industrial goods, we're not producing anything. So we need to put more effort in this sector, even agricultural sector. The other time I said in this program that we don't need more people in the agri sector. No, we only need to carry out mechanized farming. We need to provide irrigation for the farmers, provide improved seed varieties to farmers, so that you can boost agri production. 2% of the population in agri sector can really feed us in this country.
Hold on for a minute. If I get you right, because of the cry, what a lot of Nigerians are saying, even the federal government is everybody should go back to farm. Everybody should go back to farm. But you seem to differ in opinion by saying instead of everybody going back to the farm, the few that are in the farm already should be empowered so that they can carry out mechanized farming. The machineries do the most of the farming. Why they just coordinate?
Of course, like for example now,
that is better than everyone going into.
State government, federal government can subsidize, all these heavy machinery, heavy machineries used in this sector. If you go to abroad, you see machinery machines that harvest the rice. You don't need to do anything yourself. Only one person can operate the machine, can harvest crops on 10 acres of land. Instead of having 300 people working on this farm, these are good ways of agriculture for Christ's sake. The world has left this kind of agriculture. So that's why I'm saying I don't personally believe that more people should go into farming. Instead, let's invest on mechanization, let's invest on irrigation, let's invest on improved seed varieties for the farmers so that we can boost food production in the country, and of course we can have a food security. So that's what we need. Now we're talking about greenhouse farming. I don't know if you heard about that. We need to invest in this area, subsidize what is subsidizable for farmers so that people can go to mechanized farming, not subsistence farming, so that we can really boost the food production in the country.
Oh, all right. Thank you very much for joining us on the conversation today. Well, it's been the voice of Dennis. Dennis is an economic development and he's an economist, he's a researcher, economic researcher, and of course he's a data analyst. We've been able to look at the GDP, the growth, who contributed to the growth, and the lapses that we have and what we need to do. Despite the fact that we have a little reduction, an increment in the GDP, that's not enough. But then we are picking up a little, and more needs to be done by the federal government and every other person so that all hands can be on deck and we can have something better in 2025. But the bottom line is, like he said, Nigerians are waiting for when they can feel something tangible, when they can go to the market and buy foodstuffs very cheap, like we're hearing from the north right now that the price of foodstuff is dropping during this Ramadan period, and we're calling for a sustainability of this process. But then what about the sectors that are contributing to the rise in our GDP? What is the sustainability level and all of that? Dennis has made us to understand that more effort needs to be put in, especially from the agricultural sector and the rest. Many thanks for joining us on Global Morning today, having to discuss the growth of the GDP, the implications, and everything that surrounds it. Once again, thank you for coming, Dennis.
My pleasure, Mr. Ramsey. Always nice to be here.
All right, this is the size of the first conversation. Let's go on a quick break. After this break, we'll return for the second conversation and we'll look at the activities of the civil society organizations and the rest of the issues surrounding that area. We'll return after this break. Stay with us.
know that Global Television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world.
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch Global Television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to Global Television.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest. The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Back from that break, it was a very, very extensive and robust discussion with the first guest on a Global Morning today, because we need to look at the economy, the growth of the economy. Where are we after the policies that came up in 2023 down to 2024? Some persons said 2024 was one of the most challenging times the Nigerians had, but then I think it's so good that the economy is picking up a little bit. Then far away, a little from the economy, let's look at the civil society movement, because as a matter of fact, sometimes you see back at home, you enjoy so many things, you don't know who is fighting for them. Sometimes you hear things, civil society organizations, this person has been taken to court, this person has been taken to court, going where you can't go sometimes and most times. These are some of the things we'll be discussing today. So what's the impact on Nigeria's public institution? I'm talking about the civil society movement. What is their impact on Nigeria's public institution? And I have a member of the Nigerian Civil Society Organization and also a Pan-African crusader join us on the program today in the person of Andrew Enatome. It's good to have you join us on Global Television's Global Morning today.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. We're not seeing this year.
Absolutely.
It's really been a while. Now, we're looking at the activities of civil society organizations, and of course, the society, the civil society, the movement. You know, it has been for a very long time, and it is still on. The movement is still on. So can you just tell us a little about the Nigerian civil society organization?
Yeah, so far it's been interesting. At least we rounded up 2024, you know, with a high expectation. At least we're able to hold the government accountable. This year we've had two off-cycle elections that we've monitored, the Edo election and the Ondo election. Of course, you know, as the Nigerian civil society, it's our responsibility to ensure that the political and democratic space too is sanitized and harmonized, you know, thereby putting the government to check and hold the government accountable within the electoral process too, making sure that it's transparent and known for the people to celebrate in, you know, when to Edo, when to Ondo, and of course Anambra is still coming, so we're still going to monitor that with our agencies, you know. So far we've been calling the different government agencies where they've been falling short to ensure that, you know, they are up to maximum task, they are doing well, and ensuring that the promise they gave to Nigerians, they are on it. Because the truth remains, we that are outside and are member of the civil society, it's our responsibility to always hold the government to account, because we are the one that can speak through the power. Somebody who is sitting at the dining table with them will not have that confidence to tell government that you are not doing this right. Of course, they will shy away from the truth. But I can tell government that you promised that you're going to do so ABC. You've not done it. I can tell government that why you victimize this so person. I can tell government that you are being myopic or you are being one-sided. Those are responsibility, and I think we're doing that effectively. Although across the line, our job is very risky because we travel here and there, speak through the power. At times we lost our members, we just have to still keep holding forth, from the student unionism days, up to now, we're still holding up to the struggles, And kudos to one of our members too that was victimized of recently, and he's been released too. Well, thank God so far. It's been interesting, it's been encouraging, it's been time consuming as well, we're progressing and things are moving forward, and we're still hoping that as the year is just starting, more things are going to come on board. We're going to organize more protests. Of course, that's what we use for feeding, what we use for tea, when we enjoy doing protests, when the government is not listening to us, we hit the streets straight away, a state that is having crisis, they call us to come and help and talk to the government. And when the government is ready to listen to us, we tell them, okay, let's go and stop you from traveling abroad. Since we are good at that, just write a letter to embassy. There is some case we have on the table right now. We're already planning to put letters across to all the embassy that so people, so agents, so people should ban from, should have visa ban, So those are some of the things we'll be doing. It's been kind of very tasky, very demanding. We don't have people, we can't take money from government, or else they will shut our mouth. So we self-sponsor, hopefully to have some international support, a little bit just to keep us afloat. Do programs to have young people trained, into leadership positions. So and being in demanding, political parties have been on our note too as well, to see how we can interfere in their matters to help them see through the eyes of the mirror, because we can see better than they do.
Two questions I want to ask right now. You talked about the fact that some persons, you can stop them from traveling, because we've had cases in the past where they said this person is banned from traveling until this and that is being done. The civil society organizations have the power to do that.
Absolutely.
How has it been done?
We put pressure on the embassies, put pressure on the international community, ensure that, look, you must see the reason why we don't want this person to travel to this country, because he has corruption cases or he has some things he has done against humanity. By the time we write letter to the ambassador, write to the embassy like 2, 3, 4 times, we copy their own country over there. You don't have choice until, because their own country policy is different from ours. So you don't have choice than to listen to us, because we are the people. Most time they invite us for private meetings at the embassies. We hold private meetings with them. Sometimes they invite those people, those don't share their opinions. Sometimes they just listen to us when they have convention and they tell them, okay, you have cases to answer. Maybe when you are cleared and it's on air that you've been cleared through cases, then possible you can have a free way to travel. So we're doing so much behind the scene that people are not so much aware. You see, we have a lot of good lawyers like Deji now. He's already in the judicial system, already in the chamber now. That's one of our senior guys. It's one of our bosses. So today we have most of the way we've been victimized over the years. That you see, the rest are members. Today, if you arrest us, we know we have members that are lawyers that could always stand for us right now, because they pass through the same feat that we are right now. Most of us too are still going to go into the chamber to see how we can fortify the system and make it much more formidable, so that government just don't victimize, because we are the fastest and easiest people they victimize. But most of us that our voice are already becoming a household name, it's difficult for them to actually track down us and kill our voice, because we've gone too far for them. So it's only the young ones that are just coming on board that you see they can just harass her. And people like Andrew, Deji, and the rest of them, they just have to give us like that, like no, the best they could do is to listen to us. But of course they know that most of the criticisms we do, they are
constructive criticisms that will move the country forward. We just don't shout at the top of our voice because we want to shout. We look at things holistically. Like there are issues, we look at the issues holistically and ensure, okay, why is government not doing this way? But because we don't want to soil our hands, we wouldn't want the government to stain us or with any kind of, okay, you know, there's a way they can give you something, they soil your hand, they silence your mouth. What we could do is to stay from the outside and send letters to them, and if they don't listen to us, then we'll go on the streets and protest, and they listen to their language. Of course, Student Union is always the SU president. That's what we do. Most time we don't want to like feed the students. We don't want the students to feel that the way of being we've compromised their trust. So what we could do is to see how we can do protest against the institution. Most times, you know, and sometimes, you know, the government to do divide and rule among us, which the government to the Senate of the school, which is what is mostly happening, you know, in present day government. You know, when you leave the school setting and you're in the public space facing in real life, what happens in school cycle definitely see even replicate itself in the present real life. You see government setting divide and rules among, you know, civil society members, where you have 10 different civil society groups holding meetings together to champion a particular cause. At the end of the day, before we arrive at the destination, you see some people have pulled out. So these are the divide and rules.
Exactly, that's what I wanted to ask, because we talked about the fact that you people are always on the government's neck, but some persons believe that some civil society organizations are political. You know, some persons will tell you we belong to this political party. They may not tell you, but the way they fight for a particular political party, you don't need to be told before you know this person belongs to this political party. So what's the relationship of civil society organizations and political affiliation?
Beautiful. Now, it's a two-way thing. You know, you have civil society organizations that have political affiliations. You also have organizations that are neutral. Like my own agency, Africa Youth Leadership Improvement and Crime Prevention and Awareness, you could understand that what we do is to see how we can impact young people and bring them into leadership, taking them away from crime. You understand? Making them global citizens that the world and the country can be proud of. So do trainings and have partnership with other countries. Now, if you look at that doesn't have a political affiliation because it strictly has to do with crime prevention among young people. You understand? Now, you don't have civil society organization with political affiliation. That's what we call support group. They are civil society organization, but they are affiliated to a political party, registered with the political party. They call them support group of a political party. You understand? But those same support group of the political party, they are the one that protest against the intra-party activities of the party. Like if there are things within the party that they feel is not going well, external persons will not come and protest against the party if they are not being heard. So they use their own support group, civil society organization that are support group of the party. They now protest against the party. That's why you see they say I wouldn't want to mention any name. They cannot say, okay, let me say blah 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 support group. You understand? So they can use that, the name of their group as an emblem to protest in the gate of the party. Of course, they are members of the party, but they are civil society support group of the party. So that kind of a group might not be able to go and protest policies of another party, political party, but they can protest against the policies of their party, and they can as well join the mainstream civil society organization to protest against bad policies of government, even if they are opposition, because they know that those policies is not even about their political party. Now it has to do with policies that will affect the people, because when government make bad policies, it doesn't just affect only the members of the opposition, it affects even their own members. So then that's what we said, the rain that falls in the good and the bad. The poverty doesn't really affect, hunger doesn't affect members of the political party alone. It affects both the political party and members of other political party. So those members of other political organizations that are affiliated to other political party, whenever there are bad policies, they join an affiliation with the mainstream civil society organization that doesn't have political affiliation to ensure that they fight the bad policies of government, lending their voices. But of course, you have to understand that even opposition party, what they do is constructive criticisms. That is where most of the internal civil society organization affiliated to this party get their coming from. So they might use that orientational experience they've gotten from their party as a support group, merging it with the mainstream civil society organization, forging a way forward. So that's what we do to ensure that
we hold the government accountable, not just to criticize or shout, but to give them constructive criticism in some certain area where we feel they are not doing well. It is when they are not listening to us, they will not hit the streets running. When they now want to oppress us, they will not call for support from international organization. And when those ones are not forthcoming, they will not look out for the potency of the realm to join us and see how we can escalate it for the world to hear. So government, of course, will not want to bend their image, but they don't have to. At the end of the day, okay, what do you guys want? How do we do it? That's why sometimes you see they call us to a round table. They will not submit our files and say, okay, good. This and ABC is what we feel you're not doing well. Address this area, address this area. Of course, remember during the NSAS, when young people were being killed, when the police were taking advantage of that uniform to marry young people, waste young destinies, because we have criminal elements among them. But after the mob protest, the police institution listened to us, and of course they now sanitize our agencies. But today you see that there's nothing like SARS again. All those things have been reduced. Those orientation have been given to them, and everything have reversed back to the way it should be, and we're happy. If we had not done those things, a lot of young potentials would have died, because we saw through the mirror. But the bad element in the police institution were only taking advantage of the SARS to kill young people, malign young people, arrest young people because they dress or because they look good. And those young people that are so young potentials of this country. So we felt you cannot just keep on oppressing people. So we have to go to the street and ensure that our voices are being heard. Because if you don't hear, nobody will hear your voice. Same thing goes to even other intimidation from other agencies. The sector is not working, we call him to order. The minister is not working, we call him to order. So all these are many things that we try to do within off cycle. Sometimes we will write letters to some of these agencies and tell them that do ABC. It's only when they don't respect us, we not tell them that look, we get vessel. We can take you off.
All right, let's get to, because you said something very vital, and it took my mind to the End Bad Governance protest, where you have some persons who are anti-protest and some persons are supporting the protest. So in that case now, what do you think Nigerians will feel? What do you think they will feel if today you are in a support group, then tomorrow you are joining the other civil society organization to kick against a particular policy? You were once with them, and now, so is it not looking hypocritical? And don't you think that Nigerians will not take that as maybe somebody who is true to his good or her side?
Now let me give you a clue. There is practically no human being, there's practically no citizens of this country that don't indirectly have a political affiliation or political sympathy, irrespective of who you are. You might say, I don't do politics, I don't do, but the truth remains, there is an iota of political sympathy in every individual. You must have political, I like PDP, I like APC, I like Labour Party, I like ABGA, I like ANPP. In fact, I like the way, you know, to say I like the way this government is working, you already tend towards having a feeling for that state, for that political party. That is the way we are designed as a people. Indirectly, one way or the other, it might be possible that you even have a friend who is possibly a strong member of another political party, and you have affiliation towards that person. And of course, because of that affiliation you have towards that person, you will definitely tend towards having that soft spot for that political party. So that doesn't take the fact away that when you see truth, you can't say because you now have affiliation. That's why I use the word that the rain that fall on the good fall on the bad. So if there are bad policies that the ruling government makes, because someone has a political affiliation, will not stop the person from speaking truth to power. Because before you have a political affiliation, you are already an individual before the political affiliation. So that right of an individual that you have, that instinct of an individual that you have, that potential, that quality that you have on the inside of you is already existing before the political affiliation. So you must have that free will to exercise it, to speak it as at when due and as at when is needed. Not just hypocritically, because most times it goes beyond and you just sit there, you just want to talk. We just don't talk. When we see things, we say things. You can't say because someone has political affiliation and another person is being victimized and being oppressed, you won't say anything again. As I am now, if I see somebody, if a case is brought to my table of somebody who is unjustly arrested, who is unjustly victimized and oppressed, what I need to do is to go to the station, meet the head of the station there. Well, how are you doing, sir? I had such a case on your table, and this is the attention this is who I am, and this attention was brought to my table. The DP or the commissioner of police or the AIG or whatever will have the right to explain to me what transpired. Then I will not know how to take my position. if it's to assist with the legal support, I'll do that. If I feel that it's a case that they are being justly victimized, it's just for me to involve other members of my civil society crew. They will take to the street and ensure that person is being released justly. So those are some of the things we do. So you don't say that because you not do that, you not say because political affiliation, then someone now feel that you don't have the right to speak through the power as not necessary because someone is being victimized. If you do that, then everybody will be victimized. Everybody want to do political affiliation again, and the country will remain where it is. So if you don't use the giftings on the inside of you, the leadership potentials and the quality you have inside you to support the political party or to give money to the political party, then you allow your own people to keep on ruling. Instead of the righteous rule, the people reject. So definitely you won't say because you don't want anybody to tag that you have political affiliation, you not keep your mouth shut, you won't contribute to the development of the country or to the political party. Of course, you must give them your ideas and support them. Wherever you have a political party, you have a source support for. So this not really hypocritical. It's about understanding when to talk, how to talk, and the right place to talk. Understanding when to use the authority, how to use authority, and where to use the authority. So it's all encompassing. It's just knowing what to do at the right time.
Yeah, okay, we're rounding up now, but then one thing that I've known you for is monitoring elections. You travel a lot. Absolutely. You know, even during the presidential election, during the national election, you were almost everywhere in most of the states. This time, in fact, you were engrossed in Edo State, from Edo State to Osun State, and of course, the one coming off in Anambra State. So now the question is this monitoring of election, is it just to observe what happens, or you will be there to report your experience or what you've seen? Because in most cases we've seen people go to court, like I think Edo is still in court also, and a lot of others. Is it that you serve as a witness, all right, or you just observe and just publish this is what we saw in Edo State, or is just for your personal consumption?
We serve in both ways. We serve as a witness, we serve as a voice to the public too, because I have traveled around the whole 36 states. I have witnessed election in the whole 36 states. I have witnessed campaigns in the whole 36 states. Most times I will go to APC campaign in Sokoto today, go to PDP campaign in Yobe tomorrow. That is the level of sacrifice that we make. I've traveled and witnessed their campaign, their grand finale across the 36 states. We've traveled to some African countries to monitor election, to say election is being run there. Now, the essence of all these things is to see how you can contribute your quota to the country, to the development of the institution, which is the Independent Electoral Commission. Now, when we keep on telling INEC that, look, this is the feelings of the, because INEC will not be there. The places I can deploy my network to monitor election across the local government. Of course, INEC will do that, but INEC will be biased to some extent because they will want the institution need to be sanitized. So we that are members of the voice of the voiceless, we always tell INEC the way it is. We have mind saying words that INEC, your staff compromise in social local government, and this is what we saw. We have video evidence, we have pictorial evidence, we have print paper evidence. So we are feeling that, look, so next election you should do it, you should. So over time we keep on speaking through the power, speaking through INEC. We are doing this. The essence of affiliation with all these institutions, the INEC institution, the police institution, other institutions, is to help them strengthen their own institution. Because by the time we give the feedback, ours is to give a feedback to them, because they are the legalized, recognized, authorized institution to oversee all these election processes. Ours is just a backup. We back up to give them feedback on what we feel they should do better. That this is the way we saw the election from this angle, because your men will always report the one that will favor them to you. But we will not report the one that will favor you to you. We will tell you the ways you don't want to hear. So that's the place of SWOT analysis. We tell you, like, look, this is the strength of this election that we monitor. This is the weakness of the election we monitor, and these are the various opportunity, and these are the possible threats that we feel you should avoid for future occurrence in this election. So by
by the time we keep on telling the analysis on different election we monitor over time, it's over that I know, getting perfection is not something you do overnight. It's gradually. You keep on getting better until we get a dream institution of that we can call perfect institution of our because it's time right now we've not gotten a perfect institution yet. The INEC is not yet sanitized, it's not yet perfect. The security agencies are not yet perfect. As it's time right now, the institution is still weak because they are still being compromised, even at the state level, at the local level. You say to remember a state government, we win the whole local government, the whole council, we have one doesn't mean there's no other political party there. It shows that the INEC institution at that stage, the independent institution at that stage, is still weak. They don't have that free independent autonomy yet to conduct elections where at least another political party will win councillor. So these are what we're talking about. Whereby at the state level you have 10 political parties win different local governments. We are looking for us to see the day that will happen. So okay, let's assume that in Zamfara, we see APC win Zamfara. Let's say Zamfara. Okay, let's say they do have 18 local government. We see APC win 5, PDP win 8. That's the thing. Your party win 2, AGBA win 1, MPP win 1. Spread that correctly. It will give opportunity to healthy competition and strong development of the state. Because every local government and every political party want to prove a point that look, vote for me the next time. I believe to continue to be perform maximally well. You optimally well. Yes, so these are some of the things we're talking about. That look, we don't want a situation whereby the INEC as an agency will be so weak that they will be compromised even by a sitting governor or by a president or by a senator or by anybody at the corridor of power. We want INEC as an institution to be so empowered financially, morally, authority-wise, everything that you cannot compromise it. That if the government said I want to give you 100 billion to compromise my election, INEC you know that it's not right to say, okay, 100 billion is too small for me now. We know how much I'm making on the monthly basis from the INEC. So you don't want to compromise that standard. You do everything possible to ensure that the standard of the institution is being sanitized and is being upheld. So those are the things we're looking at for. There are weaknesses, we help them to look at their weaknesses, help them to screen out the bad eggs among them so that they can get the best of it. It's like what happened in Edo State. It was purely manipulated. The election was turned upside down. Almost all the things like Edo State report that election to INEC. It was obvious. We gave a report and look, this election in Edo State was purely turned upside down. The will of the people was turned upside down. After the election, people were moving, crying everywhere in the street of Edo State. Why? Because they felt that their mandate was stolen. And it was INEC in Edo State that was in connivance with APC as a political party. This is what I report it, all of us reported it, definitely. Of course, you know that we see things from different and then that's in court already. Yes, in court. Okay, well, this stands as an allegation until the court proves it. We reported it already. Okay. But all the other organizations to keep on reporting the same thing. That look, this election was compromised. You should know that there's an outcome of truth to it. You understand? Of course, the other political parties to tender evidence of the compromise of the election. So these are the things we're talking about. So it's extremely important that INEC listen to us, because what happened in Edo State was an eyesore and was a disgrace to even the international community and national community. So although practically the same thing repeats itself. So we hope that as we're reporting all these things to INEC on a daily basis, they will keep on seeing reasons with us. That we're not just saying we don't want to say, we're saying it because we want them to be better. We want their name to be sanitized. We want their name to be purified. We want people to believe in the institution. You understand? Because if we don't tell them the truth, people will not believe in them. If people don't believe in them, but for what reasons is there?
All right, Andrew. That is Andrew Enatome. He is a member of Nigerian Civil Society organization, and of course we've looked at the civil society organizations, their impact in Nigeria. In fact, a lot of people got different revelations this morning. Thank you for joining us on the conversation. Time will not allow us to continue. There are so many other questions that I would have loved to ask, because if you get to that roundtable discussion, a lot happens there, and Nigerians have a lot of perception to that. Time has failed us to ask that question, and that's part of the reason if you talk of NLC in front of Nigeria
Nigerians now, they say that is those days, that's now, and all of that. But then, time will not permit us to say so much on the program. We hope to have you some other time so that we can talk more and enlighten Nigerians about the Nigerian civil society organizations. Many thanks for joining us on the program this morning.
Thank you so much.
This is the size of the second conversation, and of course, our Global Morning has come to the end. We will come on your way again, same time, same station tomorrow. Don't forget that Global Television is on DSTV and Star Times, DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276 and on MyComSat, that is free to air. And the Global TV app is already on your app and iOS store. You can just go there, download it, and you can watch our broadcast from any part of the world. It's so good to have you join us on the conversation today. More conversations and more of the programs coming to you on Global Television today. Coming up next is Talk Sport on Global Television. My name is Ramsey Enoch. Have a beautiful day ahead of you. Bye-bye for now.